When my ex-wife took our child away and disappeared, I turned to my parents for help with court costs. My father grinned. Why? She's stable after all, and you've always been the problem. I later learned that they were secretly having family dinners with her behind my back. When I demanded an explanation, my mother coldly said, "She is the daughter we wanted. And you're just a burden we're tired of." I only smiled. I see. Don't worry, I'll be gone. A year went by and I did something they never expected. Now they call every night, "Please, don't leave US." I never thought it would turn out like this. Looking back, the signs were all there, but I brushed them off, convinced I was just being paranoid. Maybe I should have seen it coming. Hindsight is a cruel, clever teacher. My name's Mike. I'm 34 years old, and I've been divorced for almost 2 years now. I have a daughter, Emma, who's 8, smart as a whip, and obsessed with those weird YouTube channels where kids open toys or do fake challenges. My ex, Lauren, well, we didn't break up because of some dramatic affair or anything like that. We just clashed constantly. She's all about structure, meal prepping, spreadsheets, and color-coded calendars. Me? I'm more of a figure-it-out-as-we-go type. Some might call it chaos. I called it freedom. She called it immaturity. For context, my parents live about 15 minutes away in a quiet suburb, the kind with neatly trimmed lawns and mailboxes with family names on them. My dad's the type who keeps the garage packed with old boxes instead of parking his car there. They're the classic, boringly normal couple, except for how they always seem to favor Lauren. Maybe it's because she's organized and polite, or maybe because they saw me as the perpetual screw-up. To them, I was always the kid who needed fixing. "It's not personal, Mike," my dad would say, usually right after listing every mistake I'd ever made. "It's just reality, right? Reality." Things started feeling off around spring. I picked up Emma for my weekend, and right away I noticed she was different, more polite than usual, almost stiff. She sat quietly in the back seat, hands folded, and when I asked if she wanted to grab ice cream, she actually paused before saying, "I don't think Grandma would like that." "Grandma?" I laughed. "Since when does Grandma care if you have ice cream?" "She says I should eat healthy," Emma replied, her voice that eerie mix of childhood innocence and rehearsed wisdom. "And Mommy says you're not very good at keeping things clean." Ouch. I tried to laugh it off, joking about how my idea of cleaning was organized chaos. But something gnawed at me. Kids repeat what they hear, and Emma was hearing a lot of criticism directed at me. It got worse. The next weekend, I noticed Emma's little jabs had grown sharper. "Daddy, Grandma says you don't fold the towels the right way." Or, "Mommy thinks you should be more responsible." I knew Lauren and my parents were close. They'd always gotten along better with her than with me. But this was different. This felt like something coordinated. Then Lauren texted, saying she was taking Emma to visit family for a couple of weeks. I figured it was her sister. She lives out of state, and they've always been close. So I didn't question it. I just told Emma I'd miss her and to have fun. A week went by, and I didn't hear much. That was normal, right? They were on vacation. But then I noticed my mom's text messages changed. Instead of the usual, "Did Emma eat anything with red dye?" Paranoia. She was sending me random memes and TikToks. Nothing about Emma. Nothing about Lauren. Another few days passed, and I started feeling uneasy. I texted my mom to ask if she'd heard from Lauren, casually mentioning that Emma had forgotten her favorite stuffed bunny at my place. Mom sent back a thumbs-up emoji. Nothing else. Something wasn't right. I called Lauren, but she didn't answer. I tried my mom again, straight to voicemail. I started wondering if I'd done something to piss them off, but I couldn't think of anything. And then I saw it. I was scrolling through our family group chat one night, the one my parents always used to awkwardly share their vacation photos and holiday greetings. That's when I saw a new photo posted by my mom. It was a shot of their dinner table. Everyone was there, Mom, Dad, and right between them, Lauren and Emma. Emma was smiling, fork in her tiny hand, her mouth full of mac and cheese. Lauren looked comfortable, leaning in as my mom poured her a glass of wine. My dad was there too, grinning like the proud family man. And me? I wasn't even tagged in the photo. No caption explaining why my ex-wife and daughter were having dinner with my parents while I was left out. Just a simple smiley face emoji. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a vacation. This was a family dinner. Without me. I stared at that picture for a good 5 minutes, trying to figure out if it was old. But then I saw the placemats, the ones I bought my mom for her last birthday. They were new. This was recent. My hands started to shake. I texted my mom. Did you mean to send that? No response. I tried again, this time bluntly. Is Lauren and Emma staying with you? Silence. I tried my dad. Nothing. Finally, I messaged Lauren. She replied 2 hours later, just saying, Emma's fine. Emma's fine. I felt like the floor had fallen out from under me. I drove to my parents' house the next day, not even bothering to text. My dad answered the door, arms crossed, his face a mix of surprise and contempt. What do you want, Mike? Where's Emma? Where's Lauren? I demanded. They're here, he said, not even trying to deny it. With people who actually care about them. I tried to push past him, but he stepped in my way, blocking the doorway. I heard voices from the kitchen, my mom's laugh, Emma's giggle, Lauren's calm, soothing voice. This is my family, I whispered, fury boiling under my skin. You went behind my back. No, my dad sneered. You did that yourself. That was the moment I realized. I wasn't part of this family anymore. Not the one they'd chosen. I turned and left, the cold spring air biting at my face. But the chill I felt was deeper than that. It was the kind of cold that comes when you're finally, truly alone. Leaving my parents' house that day, I felt a cold, hollow ache in my chest. It wasn't just anger, though I was furious. It was betrayal, a sense of being replaced, of being an outsider in my own family. My own parents had chosen Lauren over me. My own daughter was being told things about me, little criticisms wrapped in the sugar of good advice. For the first few days, I tried to convince myself that I was overreacting. Maybe I was missing something. Maybe there was a simple explanation. I texted my mom, tried calling Lauren, but all I got were vague, deflecting messages. Lauren's usual calm, almost mechanical replies, Emma is fine. We're keeping busy. She's having a great time. But where was my daughter's voice? Why wasn't she texting me, sending me her little emojis and pictures like she always did? So I decided to be direct. I sent a message to Lauren, are you staying at my parents' house? She left me on read. No answer. I messaged my mom again. Nothing. My dad? Silent. I felt a knot tightening in my chest. Days turned into a week. I started to lose sleep, staring at my phone, waiting for it to light up. I didn't know what I had done wrong, what had triggered this cold freeze-out. But then I saw it again, a new picture in our family group chat. It was another dinner table shot. Emma smiling, my mom standing behind her, serving a bowl of salad. My dad, wine glass in hand, toasting with Lauren. Everyone looked so happy, so complete. Except I wasn't there. Not even a mention of me. Not even a tag. I scrolled up, rereading old messages. Checking for any clue, any conversation I missed. But there was nothing. It was like I had been quietly erased. So I tried again. I texted Lauren, why didn't you tell me you were staying with my parents? This time she replied, I didn't lie. You just didn't ask the right questions. That one hit me like a punch to the gut. So that was it? Some twisted game of semantics? She hadn't technically lied, so she thought that made it okay? Let me talk to Emma, I demanded. She's busy right now. I'll let her know you asked, was all Lauren said. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. Again and again. I tried my mom, my dad, nothing. A week went by, then 2. I was starting to feel desperate, paranoid. Had I done something wrong? Were they punishing me for something? I thought about driving over there again, but I knew how that would go. My dad's cold, judgmental stare. My mom's tight, forced smile. Lauren pretending she was just being practical. But it wasn't just practical. It was personal. It was cruel. I finally decided to talk to someone outside of the toxic little bubble they'd created. I called my sister, Katie. She lives out of state, doesn't really talk to my parents much. I told her everything, how they just replaced me. How Lauren had moved in with them, how they were freezing me out. She listened, and when I was done, there was this long pause. I mean, it's not that surprising, Katie finally said, almost apologetically. You know how mom and dad are. They've always needed someone to play the problem. Someone to fix, someone to blame. It used to be me, but then I left, and I guess it's your turn now. I didn't know whether to feel better or worse. Knowing I wasn't alone didn't help as much as I thought it would. But Katie did give me one idea. Look, Mike, if they're gonna play this game, don't make it easy for them. Don't be their backup plan. Don't be their emergency contact. Let them figure it out. Her words stuck with me. For years, I'd been the one they called for every little thing. Fixing their Wi-Fi, resetting their passwords, helping them with online banking. I was their go-to tech support, their handyman, their problem solver. So I stopped. I stopped answering their calls. Stopped responding to my mom's random TikTok links and her passive-aggressive "hope you're doing well" texts. Stopped being their convenient savior. At first, nothing happened. Silence. Cold, empty silence. But then it started. My dad tried to call, left a voicemail, "Mike, the garage door won't open again. Can you stop by this weekend?" I didn't reply. My mom texted a few days later, "I think I forgot my Apple ID password again. Can you help me reset it?" Read. Ignored. Lauren finally messaged me, "Your mom is getting worried. Can you at least talk to her? She's got you now. You can help her," I typed back, my hands shaking. I could almost picture their confusion, their frustration. For years, I'd been the disaster son, but I was always there when they needed me. Always the one they called. And now nothing. A week later, my dad tried again, this time angrier. "Mike, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but this is childish." I didn't answer. I could see the cracks forming. A friend of mine, Madison, who's close with Lauren, told me that my dad tried to fix the garage door himself and ended up making it worse. My mom called her, asking if she knew where I was because I wasn't responding. But I was right here. I was just done. I started keeping a list in my head of all the little things they used to rely on me for. Wi-Fi, garage doors, online banking, helping my mom with her tablet, updating their contacts, fixing the TV when it wouldn't work. I'd been their crutch, their punching bag and their lifeline all at once. But not anymore. I didn't tell them I was done. I didn't make some grand announcement. I just let the silence speak for me. And they noticed. The house I used to be unwelcome in was now a place where doors didn't close right, where the Wi-Fi cut out, where my mom got locked out of her email and my dad couldn't get the garage open. I could almost imagine them, Lauren standing awkwardly in the kitchen, my mom sighing dramatically, my dad swearing under his breath. They had chosen her, made a new little family without me. But they still needed me. The realization was like a quiet, cold satisfaction settling in my chest. They needed me. But I didn't need them. And I wasn't coming back. I thought they'd eventually give up. That the silence would teach them a lesson, force them to see how much they had relied on me. But I underestimated them. Or maybe I just underestimated their stubbornness. It started with the little things. Texts from my mom, at first casual and polite. "Hope you're doing okay. Emma misses you." Then they got a little more desperate. "Mike, the bank keeps sending me these emails. I think it's about the mortgage. Can you help?" I ignored it. Then my dad tried a different approach. He sent me an article about the importance of family bonds with no comment. Just a link. I didn't click it. A week later, he tried again, this time with a list of things around the house that needed fixing. The garage door, the leaky faucet in the kitchen, the TV that wouldn't connect to Wi-Fi. It was almost funny. The list just kept growing. As if he thought he could annoy me back into being their problem solver. But I wasn't biting. Lauren wasn't much better. She'd tried the guilt angle a few times. "Emma was asking about you. Do you really want to do this to her?" I replied with a simple, "I'd love to see Emma. Just her. Not you. Not my parents." She never answered. It was around then that I started getting strange calls. Random numbers, sometimes local, sometimes not. I answered one, and it was my dad using a friend's phone. "Mike, this is childish. You're punishing us all because you can't get your life together." "I'm doing fine," I told him, keeping my voice steady. "But I'm done being your safety net." "Your mother's crying every night," he said, trying to tug at my guilt. But I'd heard that line too many times. They always used her tears like a weapon, a guilt trip grenade they could lob at me. I hung up. But they didn't stop. My mom left voicemails, her voice breaking as she begged me to just come home, just talk, just help. Lauren tried again, this time saying Emma was confused and hurt and didn't understand why I wouldn't see her. I wanted to reach out to explain everything to Emma. But I knew I couldn't. Not with Lauren and my parents twisting everything I said. Then they tried to force me back in another way. I got a letter in the mail, a bill from the bank. My parents' mortgage. My name was on it, listed as a cosigner. I had completely forgotten that a few years back, when they needed help refinancing, I'd agreed to sign on. Just to make the numbers work in their favor. Back then, I thought I was being a good son. Now I realized I'd just given them one more chain to hold me with. I called the bank immediately. Explained the situation. They told me I'd need to get my parents to sign a release if I wanted my name off the mortgage. Great. That was never going to happen. So I started looking for a workaround. Spent hours on hold talking to one representative after another. I found a loophole. If I could prove I was being kept on the mortgage against my will, I could potentially force a removal. But it would take time. Paperwork. A lot of it. I was ready to drown in that paperwork if it meant freedom. Meanwhile, the messages kept coming. Lauren texted me again, this time with a photo of Emma at some school play. She was looking for you in the audience, the text read. A punch to the gut. I wanted to scream. Instead, I saved the photo, staring at Emma's bright smile, her curly brown hair, her little hands raised as she played her part. My little girl. My Emma. I wasn't abandoning her. I was trying to protect myself. But did she know that? My parents tried another angle. They called my sister Katie, dragged her into it. She texted me, Mike, just talk to them. It's not worth all this drama. They're family. They made their choice, I replied. I'm just living with it. A week later, my mom tried another classic move money. She texted me saying she was having trouble with her online banking, didn't understand the new website. I knew what she meant. I'd set up their accounts years ago, even created their passwords because they couldn't remember anything more complicated than their birth dates. Now they were locked out. I'm sure you'll figure it out, I texted back, even though I knew they wouldn't. Then my dad tried calling. When I didn't answer, he showed up at my apartment. I saw his car pull up from the window. Watched him get out, look around, and march up to my door. The knock was loud, impatient. I didn't open it. He knocked again. Harder. I just stood there, watching the door, listening. Eventually, he shouted, Mike, I know you're in there. Grow up and talk to me. I stayed quiet. His voice softened. This is ridiculous. You're punishing us for trying to help. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, and whispered to myself, help. He left after a few more minutes, his car engine roaring as he sped off. I stood there for a while, heart pounding, hands shaking. Part of me wanted to cry. Another part wanted to smash something. But I did neither. I just sat down, grabbed my laptop, and went back to digging through paperwork, trying to pull myself out of their financial mess. Then came the breaking point. Emma's school called me. They still had me listed as her emergency contact because, of course, Lauren and my parents hadn't bothered to change it. Emma was sick, stomach ache, a little fever. Nothing serious, but she needed someone to pick her up. Is her mom not answering? I asked, heart pounding. We've called several times. No answer. I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my keys and drove to the school. Emma was sitting in the nurse's office, pale and tired. But when she saw me, her little face lit up. Daddy! I hugged her, trying not to show how shaken I was. Hey, sweetie, let's get you home. As I buckled her into the car, she looked up at me. Can we go to your house? Of course, I said, fighting back tears. Back at my place, I set her up on the couch with some cartoons, made her soup. For the first time in weeks, it felt like I was a dad again. A real dad. Just me and Emma. Lauren finally called 2 hours later. Why did you pick her up without telling me? Because you didn't answer, I shot back. And she needed someone. I was busy, she snapped. Too busy for our daughter? There was silence. Then, can you bring her back? Not until she's feeling better. That's not your call. It is when you're too busy to answer the phone, I said, feeling the anger boiling over. Lauren tried to argue, but I ended the call. Spent the rest of the evening with Emma, watching her slowly perk up, giggling at her favorite show. I felt peaceful, like I'd reclaimed something I thought I'd lost. But I knew this wasn't over. Lauren, my parents, they weren't going to give up. And I wasn't done fighting back. This wasn't just about family. It was about freedom. My freedom. I thought picking up Emma that day was a turning point. For a brief moment, I felt like I'd reclaimed something. Like I'd found a crack in the wall they built around me. But I was wrong. It only made things messier. Lauren wasn't happy. She texted me nonstop, demanding that I communicate better, accusing me of trying to keep Emma away from her. My parents got involved too, of course. My mom texted me a long, guilt-ridden message about how family should work together, how Emma needs stability, and how I was being selfish. My dad sent me a blunt, 3-word text, "Grow up, Mike," but I didn't respond to any of it. I'd finally figured out something crucial. They thrived on reaction. They fed off my anger, my guilt, my desperation. So I stopped giving it to them. Instead, I focused on myself. I started going to the gym again, eating better, cleaning up my apartment. I reconnected with a few old friends, started going out for coffee instead of just hiding at home. I even got a promotion at work, small, but it felt like a victory. But they didn't stop. My mom's texts turned from guilt-tripping to outright panic. Please, Mike, just talk to us. I know we made mistakes, but we're family. My dad tried his usual tough love approach. You can ignore us all you want, but you can't ignore your responsibilities. Responsibilities. That was the word they loved. In their eyes, I wasn't a son, a brother, a father. I was a responsibility. Project. The tool. They tried another angle, money. I started getting letters in the mail, bills for the house, the mortgage I was still technically tied to. My parents must have figured out I was trying to remove myself because they began paying the bills late, letting fees pile up, hoping I'd panic. But I didn't. I called the bank again, explained everything, and started the process to remove myself as a cosigner. It was a long, painful slog of paperwork and bureaucracy, but I pushed through. Then one night they showed up at my door. I heard the knock, ignored it at first, but it didn't stop. It just kept going, loud, forceful. When I finally opened the door, there they were. My parents standing side by side, rain dripping from their coats. My mom looked like she'd been crying. My dad just looked angry. We need to talk, he said, trying to step inside. But I didn't move. I just stood there in the doorway, blocking them. Talk about what? I asked, keeping my voice calm. About how you went behind my back. About how you turned my own daughter against me. About how you made me a stranger in my own family. You're being dramatic, my dad snapped. We were trying to help. Help? I laughed, shaking my head. Help who? Yourselves? Lauren? You didn't help me. You betrayed me. Stop it! My mom cried, reaching out. We didn't betray you. We just did what was best for Emma. By cutting her dad out of her life? I shot back. By letting Lauren move in. Making your own little family and pretending I didn't exist? We thought you needed time to figure things out. My mom whispered, her voice cracking. You're always so unpredictable, Mike. No, I said, my voice steady. I'm just not what you wanted me to be. There was a long, painful silence. My dad finally spoke. So that's it? You're just going to ignore us? Throw away your family. You threw me away first, I told him. You chose Lauren. You chose your idea of a perfect family. You don't get to call me selfish for not wanting to be your backup plan anymore. They left eventually, my mom sobbing, my dad fuming. I shut the door and leaned against it, heart racing. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired. But I didn't cave. I didn't text them. Didn't call. I kept pushing through the process with the bank, cutting off every tie I had to them. Financial, legal, emotional. I even changed Emma's school records, listing myself as the primary contact instead of my parents. I told the school directly, if you can't reach me, do not call my parents. Lauren was furious. She called, screaming at me about how I was destroying the family. I told her I was just protecting myself, protecting Emma. Days turned into weeks. My parents' messages grew more desperate. My dad tried the guilt angle, saying they couldn't keep up with the mortgage without me. I ignored him. My mom sent me long, rambling voicemails about how I was breaking her heart. I deleted them. I saw Emma when I could. I picked her up from school, took her for ice cream, watched movies at my place. Lauren tried to limit my time with her, but I pushed back. I wasn't going to let them turn my daughter into another weapon against me. Then, the final blow came in the mail, a letter from the bank. My name was officially removed from the mortgage. I was free. I sat on my couch, staring at the letter, a strange mix of relief and emptiness washing over me. I was free, but I was also alone. A few days later, I got one last message from my mom. Please, Mike, we never meant to hurt you. We just thought you needed us. I didn't reply, because they didn't need me. They needed a scapegoat, someone to blame, someone to fix their problems. And I wasn't that person anymore. I wasn't their disaster to fix. I was just me. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like enough.